Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sactown Sports.
Listen, if you get a chance, don't forget to join Imran Pilati and myself tomorrow at 10 here on Sactown Sports for the True Sports Card Show. One of the reasons I mention that is because I believe our next guest just got some good news from PSA. I think he has a Jacob Wilson Chrome first card, which is like pre-rookie, and he got a Gem Mint 10 grade on it.
Come on.
If I'm not mistaken. Bobby
Let's
Gerould.
go.
How are you, Bobby?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Good. Is that a true story? Do I have that right on your Jacob Wilson card?
That is a true story. I'm a casual baseball guy, but I've been watching the A's, and I've always just thought that I can, even though I may not follow football or follow baseball, I'm really hardcore basketball. I always feel like I know talent when I see it, musical, whatever. And that Jacob Wilson kid, man, he just has caught my fancy. So, I did what I had to do to acquire a Chrome Jacob Wilson refractor too. So, it's a little side investment.
That's right. Yeah, good move right there, my brother.
I think
I'd sell a few records or something. Huh?
Yeah, I've got like 2 baseball cards of modern day players. I have Judge and I have Jacob Wilson. Everything else is like basketball, football, or some old school baseball. Ricky Henderson was my dude, so a lot of Ricky Henderson stuff. But yeah, you're a collector, right, Whitey?
Yes. But I don't know if I have anything to match what you got going. That's impressive.
That's dope. That's dope. BG, I don't know you. I know you're a busy man, so you're probably moving and grooving on the streets of the City of Trees a little earlier. But I had played Rumors from Club Nouveau.
Yes.
And Whitey's like, hey, don't they got 2 versions of that song? So I broke it down to him real quickly, but I told him the expert of Club Nouveau, Timex Social Club is Mr. Bobby Gerould, because Whitey, I
recorded a parody song with the lead vocalist from Timex Social Club.
Okay.
It was a parody of Rumors. Yeah.
So here's the quick breakdown is Timex Social Club preceded Club Nouveau. Both founded by Sacramento's Jay King. I don't know if that was the guy that maybe you did something with there, Whitey, or not. I believe the actual lead singer is Samuel Prater. Now, Timex Social Club and Club Nouveau went separate ways, and it wasn't the greatest party. And so, or Timex Social Club and Jay King. So Jay King founded Club Nouveau after Timex Social Club. But Rumors by Timex Social Club was a huge hit.
Yes.
Right in, about the time I was graduating high school. So I'll date myself quite a bit there.
Young man, you're a young man.
Yeah, I worked at a radio station where we played that. It was a big hit. It was kind of a crossover hit. So
you couldn't avoid Rumors. And then when they broke up, then Jay made a song called Jealousy that had some mentions about his broken Timex social friends and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah,
for a while. Yeah,
Bobby Gerould with us.
He's still kicking here in Sacramento. He's still doing his thing. He's on the radio, on an AM radio station, and very involved in the community.
He is.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep, he is.
Bobby Gerould, founder of hoopobsession.com. Pardon me. Speaking of Rumors, let's say the Kings end up staying at 42, Bobby, and we know there's lots of rumors that they may move up. Who are some of the best players who figure to be in play? And will my guy, Bogoljub Markovic, perhaps be there at 42 in the Kings pick?
Well, we got a couple things here we still need to sweat out, and that is Father's Day Sunday is the deadline for internationals to withdraw from the draft. So there's still a possibility. I have a first round grade on him. I noticed that. Yeah, I know that he would go in the first round. But if he's a second rounder at that age, it makes me wonder really if he'll stay in the draft. So I think we need to cross that bridge first. And then if he does stay in the draft, my personal feeling is that he'd probably be gone by 42. But there's some things to like there for sure. I don't think he's the greatest athlete, but he's a 19-year-old that can shoot. He's been doing very well in the Adriatic League. He was named the best young player in the Adriatic League. Former winners of that include Alperin Şengün. Not nearly the efficient player that Şengün was in the Adriatic. And I heard you guys talking a little bit earlier about how it's really hard with the Euros because you don't get to watch the games. So I posted a link on my Twitter X account. It's the latest tweet that I've posted there. I'm at Bobby Gerould. And there's a link to a full game there for the sickos who want to, get a chance to watch this guy and play a full game. So there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
BG, the last mock draft that I saw was June 5th, and if you've had one post that, forgive me, but you had Vlad Gould of Michigan, who moved with Dusty May from Florida Atlantic. Speaking of Euros, even though Russia's a little further, but he is a European, so to say, coming from Russia, but he has played here in the college game. Why do you have the Kings choosing him at center, the 7-footer?
Well, Jay, again, my list is more of a ranking than a mock draft. So I'm not projecting that Golden would be there, but he is a guy that figures to go somewhere around that range. I'm not a super Vlad Golden fan. I mean, let's be realistic here. We're talking about the 42nd pick in the draft, right?
Yeah.
So just to give some of the listeners an example, let's go with the last 8 42nd picks. 3 have been real NBA players. That's Thomas Bryant, Bruce Brown, and Nick Richards. So obviously you can find something there. There have been 2 maybes. Tristan Vukcevic, who is with the Wizards, who's someone I actually like. KJ Simpson with the Charlotte Hornets, who's just 1 year into his career. We don't know. And then there's been 3 misses, Admiral Schofield, Isaiah Livers, and Trevor Kills. And that's kind of what you're looking at. You know what I mean? It's beauty's in the eye of the beholder at that point. And I just think the main thing you can do is try to draft a guy that you think is going to be in the NBA in 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? Definitely don't think about need. Don't think about, hey, this guy would fit on our team or any of that kind of stuff, man. Just try to get the best possible guy on your list and hope he's still around.
Yeah. By the way, Bob, seriously, the last 3 players you just mentioned there, speaking of sports cards, I believe I have the rookie card for all 3 of those guys. And that's why I'm still working. Let me put it that way.
Schofield, Livers, and Trevor Keels.
Isaiah Livers, Michigan. Yeah, man, there's some guys with some collegiate names there.
I've still got them in the sleeves. I haven't given up
right?
hope. Yeah.
Hey, you got to keep the rookie cards in the sleeves, though, right? I mean, right? Just in case, right? Just in case there's some sort of situation. Yeah, right. Yeah. 5 years down the road, this guy starts balling. Yeah.
If the report that the Kings could trade up into low 20s, let's say it's true, let's say it happens, what kind of players you think they would be looking at realistically 20, 21 in that range?
Well, maybe if you do move up to get into that kind of a position, Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton is someone that I would think would fit the bill. I've talked about this before, and not everyone agrees with me, but I think that Domantas Sabonis probably should be playing the 4 spot in the NBA. I think we've seen the ceiling for the Kings with him as their 5. Which was 48 wins a couple years ago and a first-round exit. And since then, it's deteriorated. I think that because of Domas's newfound ability to hit the 3 now, he shot over 41% last year and is getting much more comfortable at that. And then looking around the landscape of the NBA and seeing a lot of teams playing a bigger guy now at the 4 spot, I look at a Julius Randle in the playoffs and I thought to myself, is there really much that he's doing right now that Domas can't do? Maybe without less silly mistakes too. So, so that's kind of where I'm at. I would love to see Domas slide down to the 4 and then get a real rim protector, someone who can anchor the defense at the 5. The problem is there aren't a ton of those guys available in the NBA. Rudy Gobert isn't just floating around all over the place. But I think that this Ryan Kalkbrenner guy, and he's not a kid, he's a 23-year-old. He has the positional NBA size. He's 7'1", 7'6" wingspan, 257 pounds. He's a shot blocker that I don't believe he ever fouled out of a game in college. So, if you're a shot blocker that can defend without fouling, that's big time. He averaged 19.2 points, 8.7 rebounds, which led the Big East. He blocked 2.7 shots per game. That also led the Big East. Big East career leader in field goal percentage.
Wow.
At 65.8%. National Association of Coaches, Defensive Player of the Year. So this is a guy who can block shots, defend. He's durable, career leader in minutes played in the Big East as well. But he's older. He's 23 years old. But I do think that that's someone that, if you were moving into the 20s, that might be someone that you try to take a good long look at. And then there are other players. I think Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida is an interesting player who really was a star of March Madness. Maybe not exactly what the Kings are looking for, but nevertheless, just an accurate shooter and a guy who seems to have that clutch gene. And so I think those two guys are interesting for sure.
BG, it's interesting because I was going to ask you about Walter Clayton Jr. Mm-hmm. If I'm not mistaken, you have shooting guard next to his name versus point guard. Is there a reason? What is he, a combo type of guy? Like, where are you seeing him at?
Yeah, I think that he's more of a 2 than a point guard, and that's kind of just based on everything that I've seen with him as far as assist to turnover ratio is more 2 guard, like 1.73 to 1. Most of your good point guards are going to be up above 2.2 to 1. There's no doubt though that his size, like he's only 6'2" and he measured with a 6'4" wingspan. That's small. So, from a guarding standpoint, I think he's going to have to guard point guards. He's a minus defender and probably always will be just because of the size. But the shot is just so beautiful. He squares up so beautifully. And just seems to be, when everything's going at its craziest, he was the coolest dude in the room, just by habit. And so he's interesting to me. But again, I don't think that that's necessarily what the Kings need. I mean, they need a point guard, but I don't think he's going to be an NBA point guard that's going to come right in and make a difference. Not for what the Kings are looking for, at least in my opinion.
For these draft candidates, we have comps, the type of person or player they can become. And that's why for Walter Clayton Jr., you mentioned how he can stay calm under pressure. My comp for him is Jay, because Jay is like, you know what? Things are going sideways. Jay's going to be okay, and he's going to handle it. Bobby Gerould with us. Who in this draft do you think is being undervalued, underrated?
Adu Thero is definitely my guy. We have guys every year in the draft that we kind of attach ourselves to, that we have a little bit higher rated than others do. And Thero is a guy who played for Arkansas. He's 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, 218 pounds. He's an athletic, tough player that can be efficient on offense without having plays run for him, which I always value. He's a plus defender that can guard multiple positions. So to me, this is the type of guy that you're looking for. He enjoys contact. He takes charges. He plays a physical game. He's like the first to the floor for a loose ball. He's the kind of guy that I think Doug Christie would really appreciate. The one thing with him is he's not a super accurate shooter. And so, you come back to that old problem again. I think he needs to be on a team where he's surrounded by shooters. But he is someone that I definitely like. And another one is Janai Broome from Auburn. He was really ballyhooed as a great college player, but there are a lot of people that see him slipping into the early second to mid-second round. And I just think he's just too skilled to really fall that far. SEC Player of the Year.
He's a little bit older, right? I mean, for a draft guy,
Let's see. He's born in 2002, so right now he's 22. He'll be 23 on July 19th. So not that much older than a lot of the other guys here. But that's a thing. Some teams seem to really want to take chances on some of these younger guys and hope that they develop into something, and some have a different philosophy. And
Gotcha.
I'm not sure if we know. I think the only thing we really know about Scott Perry, dating back and looking back at guys he's drafted, is he's tend to go after guys that are major school guys. You know what I mean? If you look back to what he did with the Kings, what he drafted Harry Giles from Duke and Justin Jackson from North Carolina, and you can go on down the list. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if the Kings end up with one of those kind of players from one of those power schools. But then you just never know.
Yeah, that's true. BG, one of the I see his name starting to pop up quite a bit as far as post Dylan Harper point guard and Jeremiah Fears is Jace Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him play numerous times. I will say he's not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why I'm wrong and why he may be able to succeed in the NBA.
I think the accurate shooting, Jay, and along with just his feel for his age, he's a pup. He's 19 years old. This is Jason Richardson, the former Golden State Warrior. Everyone will remember this is one of his sons.
Okay.
And yeah, Jace is he's a left-handed guard. He's a little bit on the small side, 6'1" with a 6'6" wingspan. Averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 1.9 assists at Michigan, but really shot it 41% from three. 83% at the line. So, I think that's kind of where it's at. Good athlete, not the high flying dunker that his father was. And I'd probably, Jay, maybe with you a little bit on that. I'm probably a little bit lower on Jace. I think I have him 14th right now. And that's subject to change. All this could change in the next couple of weeks
he's
as I
skinny.
do stuff.
He's real thin too, right?
Yeah, he's only like
something.
Yeah, 185 pounds or something like that. But like I said, he's a kid, so a lot of these guys, you know how it is. You put on your man weight, you get to be 23 or 24 years old, and it's like, hey, where skinny men go?
Yeah. If we're being honest, I remember when Chet came out, was that 22? I remember thinking, boy, if I was an NBA GM, I'd be really leery of that because he was so skinny. And obviously, it's worked out. Boy, you got to be careful. Wow. Bobby, we talked to Rafael Barlow this week. Yep. And he was telling us he's a member of the Yang Gang. Hanson, And I was like, me too. How about Bobby Gerould? Hanson Yang, what do you think?
Hanson Yang, we saw him in person last year at the California Classic. He was there doing his thing. I think he's interesting. He's another one of those guys, and we'll find out Sunday if he stays in the draft or not. But like a big 7'1" kid from China who can clearly play basketball, and it's tough for me to say. Right now, I have him early second round. I definitely see some of the promise with him. I also wonder a little bit about the state of our country right now. What is going to happen with some of these players that are from China or from South Sudan?
I got you.
It used to just be like a given that everything was going to be cool and they were going to be able to come and get visas and live here. And now, I wonder a little bit about that. I don't know if that would go into my thinking too much, but full disclosure, I will say that on all the international players on my website, I wait until after that deadline, which is coming up on Sunday, before I start digging into writing the actual capsules, because I've learned from the past, I'd write 20 capsules and 15 of the dudes would pull out of the draft, and I'd be like, man, that was a gigantic waste of time. So I write all the domestic stuff first, and then double back to the internationals.
You're smart like your daddy, aren't you?
Sharp.
We're working. I don't know if I'll ever get there. I mean, that guy.
Joined by BG, Bobby Gerould, owner, editor of Hoop Obsession, one of the best to do it from my point of view. The last guy ranked before the after party, 59. He's got a last name that everybody's paying attention to. Of course, coming out of Gonzaga, Ryan Nembhard.
Yeah.
I know Whitey's kind of where you at on him, Whitey? I know
I'm trying to stretch him out a little bit. See if I can get him just to add a little more inches like his brother.
I understand. BG, give me some insight on Mr. Nembhard.
So Ryan Nembhard, as the name would make you figure, he's a pure point guard. But as Whitey just said, the real issue is he's just not as big as his brother. Ryan is 5'11". With a 6'2" wingspan, 175 pounds. Defensive rating was 3 points worse than the Gonzaga team defensive rating, which is troublesome to me. So he did do really well though as a team player in college. I think he's maybe just a little bit small. I think he has a chance to be a backup point guard in the NBA. I probably personally would let someone else take a chance on it just because I like to start with guys who can play defense. And, and it's not like, when you say that, it's not like guys don't try to play defense. It's just the NBA is really tough. It's a land of freaks and giants and dudes with incredible wingspans. And so sometimes,
Bobby, pardon me, but that's a great point because, you hear it's kind of a cliche. Well, defense is just attitude and effort. And at the NBA level, it's not. There are guys that try with every ounce of their existence to be good defenders. And sometimes if you don't have the strength, the speed, you just can't do it.
Have it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the inches matter. Every little inch matters in this league. And so that's part of my thing with the Domas thing. I do deep dives I looked at all the winning teams. If you have a winning record in the NBA, and then I looked at rotational players, say maybe your top 8 or 9, and looked at the wingspans of everybody on those teams. And what I found out was that Domas's wingspan is about the same size as the average small forward on a winning basketball team.
Wow.
So he's not even really in the pool with the 4s, and we're asking him to play with the 5s and try to be the stopper. And so I just think, at some point you got to look at that. One other thing before I get out of here, guys, just because I did some research on this, there's a lot of fatalistic talk about the Kings, right? I mean, there's a lot of people who think we're in deep trouble. And so I went back and looked today, after Fox, with Sabonis and Monk on the floor together, because they both missed time, the Kings were 12-8. 12-8 in 20 games. Small sample size. That's Doug Christie, the coach, both Monk and Sabonis on the floor, playing in the game, not injured, and without Fox. 12-8 is a .600 winning percentage. That's 49 wins, which would have tied you for 6th with Minnesota. So I get it. Injuries are part of the game. It's something that every team has to deal with, and you would hope that your depth is good enough to help you sustain, those times when you're playing without Sabonis and without Monk. But had you had Sabonis and Monk, and you could keep up that kind of a winning percentage, if you could win 60% of your games, that's not a bad team at all to start with. Yeah. It's really, it's really not nearly as bad as I think the talk is around town. Like people think that, the Kings are a super stinker or something like that.
Game them up, Bobby. Uplift these boys and gals, man. Go ahead, BG. I see where you're going, baby.
What was that term? Super stinker?
Super stinky, whatever it is, right? I hear a lot of talk like, and I'm not saying that they're the perfect team or whether they're ready to win a championship or something like that. I just don't think they're as far away as people may think that they are.
Gotcha.
Real fast because
he got to go.
Man. No, he ain't got to go. He got 2 more minutes for his boy real fast. BG. What's your new piece of music we rocking right now? What's something new you've gotten your hands on or you're liking, something that's been released, or maybe it's a little flashback, something that you got your hands upon that you're digging right now?
Okay. It's a group called Back to Basics, and they did a cover of Michael Jackson's Do You Remember? So it's called Do You Remember by Back to Basics, B2B. And they have Dave Hollister singing the lead vocals on it. And it just brings back some good memories, some good vibes, really funky at the end. One of my friends, Eddie M., is a saxophone player who used to play with Sheila E. and Prince. And so he's on this. John Paris, the drummer from Earth, Wind & Fire, is that's basically B2B, is Eddie M. and John Paris. These 2 dudes are super musicians. They team up with Dave Hollister, do a Michael Jackson cover. It's called Do You Remember? So everybody check that out for sure.
Gotta go check that out. Dave Hollister out in the Bay Area, Brentwood area.
Yeah,
Dave is a good dude. That's right. Guys, can I take one more second of your time here, real quick?
Yeah,
you all right with that, Whitey? Okay.
Yeah, of course. I just thought you had said earlier before I get out of here. I thought maybe you had to go.
No.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I thought you guys were.
Yeah, we're good.
We're up against. Okay. I want to give just a family special shout out to Dr. Matt Campbell. He used to be the Kings team dentist. A lot of people in Sacramento know him. He had been around the community, did a lot of great things in the community. Anyway, they're having a celebration of life for Matt tonight. He passed away a couple of months ago near the end of the Kings season. Just wanted to let his wife, Irene, know, and everybody out there that was friends with Dr. Campbell that were thinking about him, and that they hope they all have a great time tonight at this function. Matt was a special dude, man. He was with the Kings for a long time, really good friends with Reggie Theus and, some of the old school people, and one of my dad's best friends, who he's kind of like an uncle figure in my life, and just a special dude. I know there are a lot of people out there, not all of you are going to know who Matt Campbell is, but if you did, or if he happened to be your dentist, you know that what a good dude he was. One of those guys where you could go in for a checkup and he's still going to call you at 6 p.m. and say, hey, everything okay? Did everything go okay during the day and all that kind of stuff. So just one of my favorite people, and wanted to send some love that way.
Thank you, Bobby. And if you get a chance, tell your father hello and wish him happy Father's Day for us.
Absolutely. And Jay, my condolences to you, brother, on your the loss of your friend, and Whitey. Hopefully the Kings are not over a barrel here for
nice.
And now I will be leaving you guys to go have a pheasant under
the glass.
Yeah.
Under the glass. Yeah.
Living large. Yeah. Thanks, Bobby. We appreciate that. Bobby Gerould. Yeah, we appreciate it. By the way, thanks to Tony Ray Harvey. He says Michael Marshall was a lead singer on Rumors, Timex Social Club. That is the guy that I think I met, and he laid down some tracks in this parody, and they felt sorry for me because I was sick or something, and I actually did the harmonies in a studio.
That a boy, man. Yeah, we put it together today on a Friday.
Thank you, Tony. I believe it was Michael Marshall. He was the nicest guy. Yeah, he's very young.
Out to BG and Antonio Ray Harvey.
Yeah,
putting it all together for us, man.
All right, when we come back, thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Unlike any other show, you see what we do?
Yes,
we make sure the rumors have been answered.
I'm
just saying.
Does OKC have clutch issues? The whole choke KC thing? I don't know. We'll look at that next on Sactown Sports.